emprendedor en serie que persigue el pensamiento exponencial. Ha fundado empresas desde el sector de la salud y el diagnóstico personalizado hasta el mundo aeroespacial, en donde ha colaborado con la NASA para la exploración comercial de la Luna. Demos la bienvenida a Naveen Jain.
Pabla! I'm going to share some secrets with you. I'm going to tell you how to live long and healthy and forever. How many of you want to know that? Good. How many of you want to live to be 200 years? Keep your hands up. How many of you want to live to be 200 years and be sick for the last 100 years? No one. What we really want is not living to be 200 years. What we want is to live until the last day to be healthy. And that's what we want. And if that's 200 years, 500 years, or 1,000 years, it doesn't matter. We want every day of our life to mean something. We want every day of our life to amount to something where we're making a difference in people's lives, right? And that's the secret I'm going to share with you. And the secret actually is not so secret. There are only 5 things we have to do to stay long and healthy. Number 1 is nutrition. Everything that we put in our body is what makes us who we are. There is a myth out there that there are certain foods that are healthy and there are certain foods that are unhealthy. Guess what? There is no such thing as universal healthy food. There is no food that's good for everyone. Whether someone tells you the broccoli is good for you, guess what? It may be good for someone, it may not be good for you. And even if it's good for you today, it may not be good for you 6 months from now. Everything depends on your body and how your microbiome digests the food. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of history here, and then I'm going to come back and walk you up the ladder of the hierarchy of needs for living long. So one of the things that surprised me most is when we talked about living long, everyone thought the solution for living long lies in our genes. What did we say? I inherited this stuff. It's not my fault. It is their fault. My parents gave me these bad genes. Guess what? You can blame them all you want. It's not their fault. Less than 5% of the diseases are caused by your genes and genetic. And they have a very special name they call rare genetic diseases. And you know what they call rare genetic diseases? Because they are rare. 95% of all diseases are caused by us, our lifestyle. Well, it turns out that if you were to do my DNA test today and I gain 200 pounds, has my DNA changed? No, it's still the same. Remember, your DNA stays the same. Now I become diabetic. Has my DNA changed? No. Now I get heart attack. Has my DNA changed? No. And then I die. And you do my DNA test 20 years after I die. It's still the same DNA. We can look at the DNA of dinosaurs, remember? If DNA can't even tell you you're dead or alive, how could it ever possibly tell you you're healthy or sick? And that's the fundamental thing you have to know, that your genes don't define who you are. Your genes are not your destiny, so stop blaming your genes for it. Take responsibility for your own action. What we realized was your genes don't change, but your gene expression is always changing. What if? What if you could measure your gene expression? But that's just the beginning. Well, it turns out 99% of all the genes in our body don't come from our mom and dad. They come from the microbiome, and I'm going to tell you what they are. These are tiny little organisms that live inside our gut. They live in our mouth. They live in our ears, nose, and all over our body. 100 trillion of them. That's more than the deficit of United States, and that's more than the net worth of Ricardo Salinas. That 100 trillion microbes that live on us and inside us, they make us who we are. What we feed them, what matters is because when we feed them right, they feed us right. We live as a symbiotic relationship. That means we are living in harmony together. And when everything is working right, we call that homeostasis. When the things stop working together, we have a dysbiosis. When everything works together, our body is at ease. When things are not working together, our body is at what? Dis-ease. And that's what we call disease. Disease is nothing, your body not being at ease. That means things are not working well together. So imagine if you could analyze your body, understand what's happening in your oral microbiome. That's the beginning of your digestion. I don't know about you. I'm assuming your mother told you to eat slowly and chew your food. Remember that? You know why? Because when you chew your food, your oral microbiome, your microbiome and the organisms that live in your mouth are pre-processing your food so the nutrition can be absorbed. Then what if you can analyze there, and then you can analyze your gut microbiome, and then you can analyze the human gene expression, and then what if you could do all three together? And if you could do that, you could find exactly what foods you should be eating and why, what foods you should not be eating and why. And I'm not here to talk about the things what we do as a company. So I started a company called Viome. That's V as in Victor, I-O-M-E. Now, you're wondering why did I spell it out? Indians cannot pronounce the word we. Then why would a founder start a company that they can't pronounce? I just fell in love with the name. V stands for VI stands for life, and omics was science, the science of life. And that's what I wanted to do, was to understand science of life, of what causes people to actually become sick, what causes people to have diabetes, what causes people to have depression, what causes people to have heart disease, what causes people to have cancer. 7 years later, I had no background in science, I had no background in biology. Today, we are able to detect stage 1 and pre-stage 1 cancer in your mouth or throat with 95% specificity. When you do a test, we can literally tell you, don't eat spinach because your oxalate metabolism is poor. Don't eat Brussels sprout or broccoli because your sulfide production is too high in your gut, causing inflammation. You're eating too much protein. Don't eat so much protein or take a digestive enzyme with that. You may think the avocado is healthy because it's Mexican avocado. It is good for some people, and it harms you when you have high uric acid. We Indians believe that turmeric is a solution for everyone. Guess what? Turmeric harms you when you have high bile acid. A lot of you probably take NAD or NR here and thinking you're going to live long, and that's exactly the thing that's going to shorten your life when you have high cellular senescence or you have high inflammation in your body. So, in fact, there's a research that just came out about a month ago that says people who go on intermittent fasting, they die sooner. I'm not kidding you. People who are on a keto diet, they are aging faster than their chronological age. So we measure your biological age and we tell you how you're aging. So anyway, that's the nutrition. Just remember, if you don't feed your body right, nothing matters. You can have a Ferrari, but if you don't put the right fuel, it doesn't matter. The second thing that's most important is stress management. If you are stressed, guess what happens? Your body goes into fight or flight response. And remember when you used to get fight or flight response? When you were being chased by a tiger. And the body says, oh, you're being chased by a tiger. You don't need to digest your food because you're about to be a lunch for someone else. So it shuts down your digestive system. It shuts down your immune system. Don't worry about catching a disease. You're about to get eaten. And literally when you're stressed, none of your non-essential functions work. All it cares about is fight or flight. In that mode, nothing works. So what do we do as humans? We came up with a religion that says, hey, before you eat, you do the gratitude, you do the prayers. You know why? So your body can move from the sympathetic mode into the parasympathetic mode. So you can relax, and when you're relaxed, when you do gratitude, suddenly your body is no longer on fight or flight response, and now you can eat. So remember, when you are at work, your boss stresses you out, right? When you go home, your spouse stresses you out. Now, I'm not suggesting what the solution is, but you know what to do here, right? Anything that stresses you out, you need to find a way to reduce that stress and find happiness inside you. The third most thing that matters is exercise. And I'm not talking about being a gym rat working for 4 hours and pumping iron. It is simply about 30 to 35 minutes of fast walking. That's all you really need. Get your 10,000 steps if you can. If you get 8,000 steps is really what actually science shows. If you just simply get 8,000 steps walking fast, you actually have done a good deed for the day. And now the fourth thing that matters is sleep. Sleep matters. Except everyone has this misnomer or a myth that you have to sleep 8 to 9 hours or 7 to 8 hours. It's the quality matters, not the quantity. Like many things in life, quality matters, right? It is about the amount of REM sleep you get and amount of deep sleep you get. In my case, as long as you're able to get somewhere between hour and a half to 2 hours of deep sleep or hour and a half to 2 hours of REM sleep, that's all you really need. If you can get that in 6 hours, great. If you can get that in 5 hours, more power to you. In this one, in sleep, I think a lot of you know, it's literally about rhythm, getting your body ready to sleep. And if you can just focus on things that actually helps you sleep better. Now, as you can imagine, I'm a quantified guy. I wear Oura Ring. I have Apple Watch. I have a thing under my mattress. I measure my sleep every day. Guess what? I know if I even drink a half a glass of wine, I just don't get a good deep sleep, period. If I eat late, I don't get a good REM sleep. I know if I eat heavy, I don't get a good sleep. And this literally how I change my life is simply saying, you know what? I eat before 6 p.m., I go to bed by 9 p.m., I get up at 4 a.m. every single day, period. Right? And I'm able to get a good 4 to 4.5 hours of deep sleep and REM sleep. And I wake up, which is absolutely fresh. Now, I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the fifth thing that matters the most, which is purpose. There is so much research that shows people who live a life of purpose tend to live 8 to 10 years longer than the people who have no purpose. And I hear from a lot of young people, how do I find my purpose? How do I find something that I care for? Do I have to have a passion for what I do? How many people are passionate about the things they do? Well, guess what? You are a bunch of losers. Passion is for hobbies. Passion is for hobbies, and the winners have obsession. Not obsession for things, not obsession for people, but obsession to solve a problem. Obsession to solve something they care about. They go to sleep thinking about it. They wake up in the morning thinking about it. Now, ask yourself, what are you willing to die for? And then live for it. Ask yourself, if you had everything in life that you want, all the money you want, the great family, what would you do? And if you do that today, you will get everything that you want. Everything you want in your life has to come from wanting to solve a problem that you care deeply about, that you're willing to give your last drop of blood solving. And to me, one way of finding out that whether you are actually doing something that is your purpose or not is really simple. When you wake up in the morning and you don't jump out of the bed, whatever you are doing, quit it that day. That is not your purpose. Because when you find your purpose, you will never be lying in the bed. You will always be jumping out of the bed, wanting to solve the problem. And I do that every single day. At 4 a.m., I jump out of the bed. And there comes a time, I have done now 7 companies. There comes a time in my life where I want to lie down in the bed for 5 more minutes. And that's what I told my wife. When that happens, your job is to kick me out of the bed and say, go start a new company, you're done with this one. Right? And that's literally what happens every 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I find that I'm no longer obsessed about solving this. Or I have pushed the boundaries as far as I want, and now someone can stand on my shoulder and take it forward. Right? About solving the problem is not about taking all the way to the destination. Your job is so simple. Continue to push as far as you can. And even if you don't succeed, you already won, because someone is going to come behind you, stand on your shoulder, and take it across the finish line. And even if you don't benefit from it, your children and your grandchildren are going to benefit from it, right? And that's how we have to look at when we are looking at a problem. Lot of people, when they look at, people who are successful and say, I want to be like them. I want to make a lot of money. And they define their success by how much money they have in the bank. Let me tell you, your success is never defined by how much money you have in the bank. It is defined by how many lives you improve while you're still alive. So focus yourself on improving people's life. If you can find anything you do in your life that improves 1 billion people's lives, you can create a $100 billion company. But you don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to create a $100 billion company. What do I do? Making money is simply a byproduct of doing things that improve other people's life. Because when you improve other people's life, they become your loyal customer, and now you have a business. Right? You create a business by making a difference in people's lives. People say, what if I don't know anything about it? I told you, every single disruption rarely comes from expert. Experts are good at telling you why you shouldn't do it, why it won't work. It's always the non-experts that challenge the foundation of everything that experts have taken it for granted. Every single disruption comes from people coming from outside the industry, rethinking, reinventing, recreating what experts have taken it for granted. And that is how disruption happens. Your idea that you have today may or may not work. Every idea that does not work is simply a stepping stone to a different idea and a bigger idea. You only fail in life when you give up. Everything else is simply a pivot, right? Now, how many of you here want to live a smooth life? All right? Guess what? When you are alive, how do you know you are alive? Because you have a heartbeat, right? What does a heartbeat look like? It goes up and down and up and down. When it is smooth, you're dead. When you're looking for a smooth life, you're wanting to live a life of a dead person. That's what you're asking for. When you want to be alive and want to make a difference, you're looking for these ups and downs. Remember, when you are down, all you have to do is hunker down and know that next beat is going to be up. And when you are on top of that beat, never become too arrogant, because always remember, winter is coming and winter shall come, right? To never, ever get into so much of your ego that you have achieved something. You always know this is cyclic. The things go up and down. Never stop being intellectually curious. If you are a parent, the best advice I can give you is not simply leave a better world for your children, but leave also a better children for the world. Give them the intellectual curiosity they need. Ask them to connect the dots that have never been connected before. Expose them to the things that they have never been exposed. Don't simply allow them to just learn one thing and say, that is my passion, and have them pursue that. Because unless they know many things in life, they would never be able to know what they don't know, and they will never be able to find their true obsession for life. And I'm going to have more time with you, so I'm going to come back and give you more on how do you raise the children, especially raising the children in an affluent family where they know they don't have to work, but they still do, because you have told them their self-worth never comes from what they own. Their self-worth comes from what they have created. And if they have not created anything, they're still a parasite on society. So tell them, don't be a parasite. Make yourself proud of who you are. Go out and make a difference in people's life. And if you do that, not only you have created an amazing world for your children, now you have raised the children that are going to go out and pursue the same obsession to solve many of the problems. I'm watching here, and I think my time is coming to an end. So all I can say is thank you very much for welcoming me, and Pabla. Thank you, Pabla.